Welcome, guys. We're going to just wait for folks to start joining the webinar here. Excited to get things started. Colin and Emmanuel, how's your guys' day going?
It's going great so far.
That's going good for me. Kind of just started.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm looking forward to the weekend and actually heading out to Austin next week. Some exciting few days ahead. Looks like we have quite a few folks joining, so we're going to go ahead and get things kicked off. I want to welcome everyone to today's webinar. My name is John Mark Bantock. I'm the CEO here at Catalyst Connect. Joined with me, I have a couple of my colleagues, Colin Tilton, he's our Director of Marketing, and Emmanuel Soimaru is our VP of Technology. I'm really excited to connect with you guys again. It's been a while. I've really enjoyed connecting with partners periodically as part of our Thought Leadership series. The last time we were together was at the December Inspire event for US and Canada partners in December. And we actually launched a survey, if you remember on that webinar, polling partners on their expertise across various industries and apps. So I thought a good place for us to start on today's webinar is really taking a look at where we left off as a partner community at the end of 2021, because I think it plays into some interesting trends that we're seeing here through 2022 and how we as a partner community can best capitalize on these trends that are happening as we enter into a potentially volatile economy, potential recession. We've got the war going on, quite a bit of curveballs that are likely going to come our way. So with that being said, today's topic, scaling, differentiation, and value maximization in a volatile economy. Setting the stage for this, the results from the Inspire survey, we polled partners on two primary questions. One was, what was their proficiency across various industries? And the other was proficiency across various Zoho apps. Now, I do need to preface that this survey was an informal voluntary survey. It was anonymous. So take the results for what they're worth. I think that they are worthy of note and some of the trends that we're seeing. We had a sampling of about 60 or so respondents. So that's kind of the sample size that we're working with. So the first one here that we'll take a look at is industry proficiency. And as you can see, there's quite a dispersion. We polled about, I think, 20 or so different industries from no awareness all the way through expert. And overall here, some of the trends that we saw is that on average, less than about 20% of partners consider themselves expert in a particular industry. We also noticed a pattern that those who consider themselves expert in one industry tend to be expert in multiple industries. Now, this could be a factor that they're perhaps some larger partners that were part of that sampling and they have a broader team, or they've just been a part of the Zoho ecosystem longer and have had opportunities to work on multiple industries. We can also see that there are a number of industries with very few partners that are expert. These range from agriculture, construction, wholesale and mining. Some of those we'd anticipate that we don't really get too much volume, but there were some interesting ones here like education, travel, engineering, and leasing and rentals. These were surprising to me that we had some gaps as a partner community in servicing these industries. We also saw that there were some common industries that I think we're pretty strong at. It's no surprise that a lot of us are familiar with sales organizations since, as we'll see in a sec, most of us are fairly expert at the CRM. Something that was fairly surprising, though, is that we have quite a strong bench on accounting and tax, non-profits, and of course, SaaS was up there. Makes sense. We are implementing SaaS software. So let's take a look at the app proficiency. Similar dispersion to industry expertise, actually. We see that we have quite a variance across the various apps. Taking a look at some of the summary data here, much the same, about 25% of partners consider themselves expert in at least one or more apps. Again, we're seeing a pattern that those partners who consider themselves expert in one app are likely to be expert in multiple apps. Again, I think there's an opportunity here for some follow-up research to see which partners are considering themselves expert. As this was an anonymous survey, we don't know if it was larger or smaller partners that have more niche expertise that were considering themselves expert. We can also see that there are a number of apps here that had a fairly poor showing of expertise. Some of them were anticipated, like Zoho Contracts was fairly new at the time that the survey was put out. But we also have some fairly large and great apps like, People, Recruit, Backstage, Commerce, that I would anticipate we should have a better showing of expertise in those areas. And then again, apps with the most expertise, no surprise that CRM was there, forms, analytics, books, inventory, campaigns, and sign. The one that surprised me there, I guess, was inventory a little bit, but it seems again that we as a partner community have a fairly strong bench strength in accounting, tax, and the finance modules as well, which is great to see. I think that a few years ago, we lacked that depth, and it's nice to see us maturing in that sector. So let's take a look at some of the implications then of the dispersion of expertise or experience with different apps. I think for clients, there are a few implications. One, it may be difficult to find a partner that has the relevant industry expertise that a client is operating in. And I think that what we're certainly noticing is that clients aren't just looking for broad industry experience in professional services. They want to know that you are expert at engineering for HVAC companies in California. They're wanting a little bit more specific depth in their industries and really understanding how their niche operates. Clients may also find it difficult to have a one-stop shop for partners because with the advent of suites that Zoho is selling, whether it be CRM Plus or Zoho One, we're noticing a trend for clients to implement more than one app. 5 years ago, it was quite easy to do basic configurations on a single app. These days, we're going to be implementing multiple apps, and that can be challenging for us partners. Because of this, we oftentimes find that clients that get matched with the wrong partner initially may have to bounce around from partner to partner. This obviously isn't ideal from the partner's perspective, nor from the client's perspective, and this could potentially lead to retention issues in the Zoho ecosystem. So something we should all be cognizant of. Now, where can we help and where can the Zoho partner community and Zoho specifically give us some more insights so that we can all mature as a community? One is I think that there's some interesting trends here that perhaps warrant a more formal follow-up survey that we can do a little bit more of an in-depth query to partners to understand their relevant niches and industry expertise and to understand which partners are doing what. Second is I'd love to know the dispersion of Zoho's app adoption by actual Zoho customers. I know that we have some of this data from a few years ago, but would love to see the trend as to which apps clients are implementing through Zoho and in what order. This can help us partners understand which apps we should increase our proficiency on and how best to roll out some of these apps for a client. And then I think that to increase our bench strength across the apps, is there an opportunity to facilitate more comprehensive training provided by Zoho on each of these apps with specific industry use cases and that can help us get these relevant apps deployed. So that's where we were at the end of 2021. And I think that we're all seeing a very interesting 2022, whether it be the war in Ukraine, skyrocketing inflation, potential recessions. We are in for an interesting ride here in the next few months. And with that setting the stage, let's dive into some of the trends that we're seeing through 2022, and we can take a look at how we as a partner community should be addressing these trends and even capitalizing on them. So for today's formal agenda, we're going to start with some of those trends. What are we seeing through the recession, through the pandemic here, which was a boom for a lot of us. Now going into 2022, there's some interesting economic turmoil that may be changing things. We're then going to discuss some differentiation and specialization in light of these trends, how we have capitalized on these trends and what our results have been in the last couple of years. And then we'll discuss how we as a partner community can benefit from game theory and partnerships and really leveraging each other's expertise. So with that, let's take a look at some of the trends. The first one here is that we're noticing that clients are becoming more sophisticated, whether it be that they have employees that have already implemented CRM in the past, they're more comfortable with technology as a whole. Zoho has done a great job of improving the ease of access to products, tutorials, and onboarding. And we're seeing an uptick in a lot of clients feeling comfortable self-implementing. So what are the implications of these? Well, one, it's going to be less basic work for us partners. Two, we're also seeing that a lot of clients are coming back around to us after a few months of attempting an implementation and having a very messy architecture and the need for a lot of data cleanup or re-implementations. We're also seeing an uptick in consulting and advisory services. Many clients want to have a hand in actually implementing the system, and we are a huge advocate for making sure that clients actually own their own technology and can run the systems post-launch. Number two, we are seeing an uptick in more app adoption. This is obviously fueled by Zoho One, which has been the overwhelming app that's being installed by clients, or subscription, I should say. And this is leading to an expectation from clients that partners have a broader knowledge base across multiple apps. And this is also fueling the need for us partners to develop more partnerships where we can co-implement systems for clients. More recently, we have seen a bit of uncertainty, obviously heading into this potential recession, the war abroad. We are seeing a little bit of an uptick where clients do not want to make these big capital investments. They're not quite sure if we are heading into a recession and what kind of volume will be there for their businesses. So anecdotally, we are seeing sales cycles taking a little bit longer. We are seeing clients self-implementing or taking on smaller pieces at a time to just kind of ease themselves into the software. Number four here, this is more of an internal trend, but it plays into the need for a more broad suite of apps being implemented, and the fact that clients are more tech savvy. They're taking a lot of the simple work and they're bringing us in to do more complex work. This often coincides with API integrations or syncs with other software. So it's putting a lot of tough demands on us as partners to bring our employees up to snuff on a broader suite of apps, industries, and integrations that we need to support. And what we're seeing is that the ROI on new hires is being pushed out. It could take 3 to 6 months to bring an employee up to speed where they may be able to be independent. And we'll discuss a little bit about how we're mitigating this ramp up time through standardization and specialization as an organization. Finally, a trend that we're seeing is that because there's less of a demand for the simple work, any kind of commoditized service, we are seeing decreased margins. I mean, that makes sense, right? A commodity really is going to have a deflationary effect on our margins. So let's take a look at how we are responding to some of these trends and what we can do as partners to actually position ourselves to grow through these changes. So let's take this one by one. The first trend that we're seeing here, less basic work, reworking of messy systems, and an uptick in advisory services. For us, this is largely a sales positioning opportunity. When we engage with a partner, we are really looking at this engagement as a long-term partnership. And it's a different mindset. It's a different way to sell. We are going there in an advisory and consultancy based approach. And we always lead with an initial discovery, business process analysis, and project plan. This not only gives us the confidence and the roadmap of understanding what that client's needs are and if we truly are the best fit for that partner, but it also allows us to give them an artifact out of that initial engagement, which is a full tech spec and project plan. And clients are always given the opportunity to self-implement according to that plan, utilizing our expertise. Now, we obviously strive to knock it out of the park, and more than 95% of our clients use us for the implementation post project plan and spec. So one way that we can position our expertise and services is to really build the value in and look at outcomes. Clients, I think some of the more naive clients may just say, hey, I need just something to keep my contacts organized, or I have to have a CRM, and they're not really defining what the end states are and the objectives for that implementation. So we oftentimes take a step back and really ask, well, what is the end state that you're working towards? How is the software going to benefit you? And where we can help develop a strategy to increase efficiency or increase sales, then we're building the value that we are more than just a technology implementation partner. We become part advisory and consultancy based, where we can build more value in our services than simply configuring a software. Number two here, expectation of working proficiencies across multiple apps. We've learned that it's really important to draw boundaries. While we have this pressure from clients to support a broader range of apps, we've in the past been spread too thin in certain cases, and we waste time learning new extensions and apps that we don't really implement too often. And oftentimes, if you spread yourself too thin and step into areas where you're not expert, it could really discount your credibility in the areas that you are actually expert in. So by drawing boundaries and being honest with clients about where you are really good at and areas that you're not the best fit, and actually selling on what you're not good at, clients will de facto actually embrace what you are good at. And obviously there are going to be some missing pieces, and that's where it's really important to leverage other partners. And we always bring in other partners for areas that we're not very deep in. And that way the client gets what they need, and everyone can capitalize on the work that they're really good at. Point number three here, clients implementing themselves and using smaller budgets. So what we've learned here is that when it comes to uncertainty, clients are really looking for that roadmap of what that end state is going to look like. And they want to get there as fast and efficiently as possible. In the past, we have done custom project plans for every client, and it's a more lengthy and expensive process for the client, but ultimately they get exactly what they want. Now moving to at a bit of a faster paced and lower margin environment, we need to take a look at how we can sell them on that end state faster. We've endeavored to create a number of different vertical solutions on Zoho, and we have about 10 different demo accounts that are built out for different scenarios. And when we onboard a client, we can actually walk them through a live configuration of different industry verticals. And we use those as a base template for an implementation. This gives the clients the confidence that they know exactly what they're getting, what those workflows are going to look like, and it gives them the opportunity to step into that pre-configured state at a much lower cost. We deploy these on a fixed bid basis, and then layer in our consulting and dev services on top of that, or allow them to use our out-of-the-box configured vertical solution first and use it for a little while, and then come back to us for any enhancements on that configuration. This has a couple of advantages. It allows us to create more standardized implementations and standard operating procedures, which allows us to train employees on those verticals and those frameworks more effectively, and obviously gives the clients the opportunity to step into a configured system much faster and more affordably. So that is really tying into that fourth step there, that in order for us to be able to grow as fast as we need to, we have to come up with those standardized frameworks and specialize in certain industry verticals or configured states for Zoho. Finally, a thing that we have really embraced over the years that is starting to have a compounding effect is really operating with intention and having focus in what we do. And this is very difficult. You know, when you're having a lean month and you get a client, sometimes you just have to take on that client to keep the lights on. But it's also very important to be cognizant of what type of work you're taking on, and if that work is really complementary to the skill sets that you're building as an organization. And for us, we're really focusing on a handful of industries and largely focusing on customer portals, vendor portals, and third-party apps built on the technology that we've created. And by focusing on those types of engagements, you create the snowball effect. We're in a beautiful industry that we have the copy and paste buttons that we can leverage previous work. So by focusing on those clients, there's this snowball effect to being able to leverage previous work. You gain better understandings and efficiencies. And not only is that easier to train new employees, it gives clients more value, and you start to build significant IP in the process. And I'm going to segue into that here with the results of the last 3 years and how we have capitalized on that concentration of professional services and de facto bootstrapped product development to some pretty successful products so far. So here are the results for the last 3 years. We've had tremendous growth, and we were fortunate enough to be named to the Inc. 5000 as one of the fastest growing private companies in the US, with about 340% growth. We have really embraced this partnership model where we seek to leverage other partners' expertise. And in doing so, we have managed to actually find some very beneficial synergies and have acquired or merged with 3 other partners over the last year, that being Cloudbaker's Zoho division. We have First Avenue CRM and Zavita Solutions. So we are always interested in finding those synergies with partners, whether we go into jobs together or where there's an opportunity to find a better uptick in a more formal partnership. Given that we concentrated a lot of our work over the last few years on building client portals, vendor portals, brokerage sites that all leverage Zoho on the back end, we deployed about 24 of these over the last 3 years. And these custom portals ranged at the low end from probably about 30K to the high end, 750,000. And some of those larger apps, we were lucky enough to help those organizations see some significant valuations and exits based on our technology. And we were able to leverage the builds from one to another and realize that there was an opportunity to productize what we had been doing on a professional services basis, which led to the creation of Z Portals. Now, a lot of you may be familiar with Z Portals. This is a SaaS product that we built that is a unified client portal builder for multiple Zoho apps. So no longer do we have to invite clients to multiple portals for desk, for books, for CRM, etc. We can create a consolidated customer portal that connects to multiple Zoho apps that has some really cool implications for some vertical solutions. And that's one of the key things that we have focused on now is incorporating Z Portals to create turnkey industry solutions that I'll chat about in a sec. Overall, this concentration and focus on client portals has added an incremental $1.5 million a year to our business. Not only have we seen this uptick in revenue, but it's very profitable revenue since it's work that we're doing again and again. That's also funding our R&D efforts for product development. So we're creating some good synergies and snowball effects here by having that concentration in services. This has to coincide with good partnerships because it's a bit of a leap to start to specialize where you're not casting as wide a net across multiple services, and you need to make sure that you get your niche expertise out there so that you bring in that inbound marketing from partnership referrals, and also give back and realize that you shouldn't have the temptation to take the work on that isn't ideal for you and give that out to partners where that's really their wheelhouse. And that strategy has served us quite well and given us the opportunity to work with some fantastic brands, whether it be Stanford University to Ace Hardware, JD Power and Associates, and having this depth in certain areas really allows us to create something special for these clients. So where are there partnership opportunities for us with other partners? First is Z Portals. This is a fantastic app that allows you to create a fully customizable, unified client portal that connects to multiple Zoho apps. We're getting multiple signups per day for this software. Z Portals is a separate company. We don't do any professional services under Z Portals, and we need implementation partners. The folks that are downloading Z Portals to create these client, vendor, or brokerage sites are across almost every industry, and we really need to find partners with that breadth of experience so that as we get folks looking to implement this, we can refer that implementation out to a partner with that relevant experience. We offer 20% perpetual commission, and there's some great opportunities for those of you that have some deep industry expertise to create some turnkey vertical solutions. The second is with custom client portals. So as I mentioned, we have built a number of really slick web applications that connect with the Zoho ecosystem. Some of them may be fairly small and turnkey. And when I say small, it's still a decent investment, about 30 grand. Again, we've done multiple web portals that have been in the hundreds of thousands and can create some significant intellectual property for these clients. And there's some obviously great referral commissions, and I think our largest referral commission that we've paid out on a portal has been in around the 20K mark. So this could be a good revenue source for you if you have a large client with a big budget and you don't have the bandwidth to handle a big custom portal like this. We'd love to partner with you on those opportunities. So as we have started to concentrate on client portals, the client engagement experience, what we realized is that by leveraging our core competency in client portals, we were able to develop some niche expertise across certain verticals. Those verticals that really required significant client engagement in an online space. The first is nonprofits. So if we take a look at what we've developed between Z Portals and our configured CRM, we have a fantastic solution for nonprofits that need a donor portal. We can deploy Z Portals along with Zoho subscriptions and Zoho inventory to create actually an e-commerce checkout process where donors can actually make one-time donations, recurring donations directly through this portal. They can pull their tax statements at any time that they want. And as these donations are made, we can automatically segment these donors by the funds that they are, or the causes that they are contributing to. And we can also segment them by how much or how frequently they have donated to these specific funds through Zoho campaigns, and do some email drips to let them know how those causes are progressing and how their funds are being used. So this is a great opportunity for you to take a look at some of your industry expertise and see where you could leverage Z Portals with your custom Zoho configurations to create more fully turnkey solutions. Another one that I'll point out is professional services. We have a fantastic portal where professional service companies need to be able to do contract management, where we are signing documents through the portal. We need good document management, as is the case for tax companies, where you need to collect documents and have those clients uploaded in a secure way. Gone are the days where we have to haphazardly email documents back and forth or submit them to a portal in an unorganized way. We've come up with some great solutions where you can have a documents request module with a subform of each of the documents that a client needs to upload. We can show that subform of all of the documents in the portal, and the client can upload the documents directly through the portal, check off which documents have been uploaded, and then click a button to submit them to the account manager. So the account manager can just review the docs once all are submitted, and then we can securely transfer them to OneDrive and make them available to the client to view through the portal as well. So the final example of a use case of combining Z portals with Zoho functionality is real estate rentals and leasing. You may need a tenant portal where they can submit their applications. Maybe you need them to be able to submit support tickets, and for the leasing agency to be able to have a vendor portal to dispatch work orders. Using Z portals, we can do all of that, and we can configure it in a very customized way to cater to different stakeholders, whether it be the tenant themselves or the vendor, and connecting those two. So give some thought to this in terms of how Catalyst Connect and Z portals can help you create more turnkey industry solutions. We're really focusing on the technology behind the scenes that can enable these turnkey solutions and really create a lot of leverage across our expertise. One final vertical that we have a lot of depth in is professional coaching. So setting effective goals, task management, meeting agendas, doing content delivery as using Z portals as a light CMS. We have a lot of flexibility across these different use cases. So given that our focus is really on some of these niche industries, and that we're really heavily investing our time and efforts into client portals and the Z portals product, there's a lot of business that we turn away. At least a client a day we need to refer out, and we'd love the opportunity to learn more about your niche expertise, your product expertise, so we can not only bring you into larger jobs where we need that depth, but we can also refer out those clients that aren't an ideal fit for our concentration of services. So with that, we would love the opportunity to connect with you and have some synergy discussions to see where we may be able to partner and or work together. So I, much like the last webinar, have a survey that I'd love to have you guys respond to. I think that, at least for us, there are a handful of partners that we've got to know really well, and we have some fantastic synergies, and we pass business back and forth. We leverage each other's expertise, and I would love to get to know more partners. And as the Zoho ecosystem grows, there's certainly going to be a tremendous amount of business that we can pass around to each other. Zoho has a great partner directory, but I think that it may be lacking in some of the niche depth and expertise that I'd like to know more about our fellow partners. So I'm going to pop this link here into the chat, and I'd love for everyone to first of all give us some feedback on this webinar, information that you found helpful, follow-up information that you would like to learn more about. And then if you guys would find benefit in having a more robust partner directory and allowing that directory to either be public, maybe private just among partners, or shared with Zoho sales reps so that they can give us relevant leads according to our expertise, and allow us to build a little bit more deep profiles about our industry expertise, niche applications and extensions that we've developed, how we do business and work with each other. So as we enter into our Q&A session here, I am going to pop the survey in the chat. Please go ahead and respond to that survey. You should have it here in the chat now. And we certainly welcome the opportunity to meet with everyone. And as I introduced Colin at the beginning of this call, please reach out to Colin at ctilton@catalystconnect.com. We'd love to schedule some one-on-ones to learn more about you. So with that, let's head into our Q&A, and please take a sec to fill out that survey. Okay, so we have a question here. What percentage of our clients use our services for monthly ongoing support? This is a fantastic question, and one that is a really tough one to handle if you are a small firm. You know, we have a fairly large team now of about 24 folks, and we benefit from having a dedicated support department. So the way that we handle our scopes of work, and please check out our YouTube channel for the Thought Leadership series. We go over our exact methodology for how we engage with clients, do the project plans and implementations. The vast majority of our clients end up using us for some ongoing services. We usually do an initial engagement that incorporates a project plan. That project plan usually incorporates multiple phases of work. We'll treat each phase of work as a dedicated project, and then anything that is considered more than 20 hours of work, we partition as own individual scope of work and quote as a project. Of course, we have a lot of ongoing support that happens as well. So we'll oftentimes sell a support package to those clients alongside doing these individual scopes of work. That support package will be more of an hourly engagement for any ad hoc support that the client may need. So to answer your question, the vast majority of those clients do use our support services post-launch, and some we have ongoing multi-year agreements with. Others, we try to really build that expertise in-house so that they can manage Zoho independently and then just leverage us for the larger scopes of work. This becomes quite important when you're looking at scaling your organization, because typically the implementation work is more profitable than the support work, depending on how you have your organization set up. So for those of you that would love to learn more about our experience with setting up support departments, be very happy to share with you our successes and failures in how we've handled support. All right, let's take a look at the next question here. Great, we have a few hands up here that they are partners that have some niche expertise, extensions and apps that they would love to not only get out to the marketplace, but also look at leveraging. So there are some partners that are purely sales based that would love to just act in a more advisory and sales capacity for others. Let me take a look here at the next question. Great. So I think that, again, some more comments here that there are some good niche industry vertical applications and synergies with Z portals. And for those of you who are interested in launching a vertical, this is something that we've attempted numerous times. And if there's one thing I can say that Catalyst has done a lot, that is fail. We've also got some great successes out of those failures. And when it comes to vertical solutions, I don't want to say that we are expert at it. There's certainly some partners that have done a stellar job there. You've probably heard of them. One that comes to mind is Blue Root. They've found a great vertical solution in the mortgage and insurance space up in Canada. When it comes to vertical solutions, I think that the key is that you really have to look at that differentiation and building some deeper integrations to really solve some niche problems for these industries. One thing that I would encourage you to take a look at is you need to get specific enough that you are catering to an audience and solving their niche problems, but making sure that that niche is large enough that you have an addressable market to actually gain some momentum in that industry. We've made mistakes in the past by going after too niche an industry and not having the breadth of companies, or not having a community that is willing to embrace technology as readily. And we spend a lot of time selling them on the concepts of using software as opposed to our solution. We have had some experience in developing these vertical solutions on Zoho's vertical marketplace. The vertical marketplace has matured a lot. I would certainly encourage you to take a look at not only the vertical marketplace, but also the extension marketplace and leveraging Sigma. When it's come to our experience, the way that I would recommend that you approach these verticals is you really need to have a number of implementations in a particular industry before you can really think about creating a vertical. I'd say that at least 5 implementations in a vertical is necessary. I think that a lot of other partners can attest to the fact that, at least here in the US, everyone has a unique way of doing the same thing, and it becomes very difficult to create a truly vertical solution that's plug and play. So for that reason, we have sometimes used vertical solutions where we need to deploy something on a SaaS basis and getting it out to market as low adoption fee as possible. But we've also created a number of copy customization templates, and we will market a vertical solution and deploy that vertical solution as a copy customization. So we have more flexibility to then customize that vertical for the client post adoption. And we do that by having this template CRM. We also do that through the use of extensions and having a vertical solution broken down into each of its component parts that we can just deploy extensions very efficiently for specific functionality. And I'll use that tax example as another case in point where we can deploy that document management solution as a turnkey solution for any company that may need to request documents and have clients securely upload them through a portal. Another example is setting effective meeting agendas. I know that we all suffer from having too many meetings or ineffectual meetings, and we can build a meeting agenda with a sub form on a module in the CRM, make that meeting agenda available to a client so that they can view it ahead of time, and also assign certain tasks or action items that they can access through the portal, whether it's documents that you want them to review prior to that meeting, maybe tasks that you need them to complete, and automatically sending out some notes about that meeting once it's closed. Give me a sec here to read the next question. So we have a great question here about how to handle partnership engagements. This is a sticky subject for a lot of folks, right? We all are incentivized to map clients to our partner accounts. Our approach to it is to any partner that originates that client lead gets the registration as kind of a rule of thumb. In cases where there's a clear fit for another partner, we are happy to have that other partner register the client if they're going to be the one doing the bulk of the work. We are very respectful of that partner registration, and the vast majority of our partners keep the registrations with their clients. We have a rule of thumb internally that we do not register ourselves on another partner's client, even if we become the primary partner on record. Of course, there are exceptions to that if we are taking on a massive new component or build out that's going to increase licenses substantially. At that point, we will then, as a courtesy, discuss that with the partner and mutually decide what's going to be in our best interest. I think that the key here is communication and trust. And for us, at least, we would rather be an enablement partner and get our technology out there to help drive more business at scale than trying to hoard a registration. That being said, we are certainly amenable to offering some white label services. When it comes to big tech projects, that becomes a little bit more tricky because we oftentimes need to have a very close relationship with those clients as well. But when it comes to Z portals, that product, we have a reseller program for it. Again, Z portals is a separate legal entity to Catalyst Connect. Catalyst Connect does professional services. Z portals is purely SaaS. So we need implementation partners that can integrate that product into their vertical solutions and run with those implementations. Let's take a look at the next question here. So we have a question, how do you think that the partner ecosystem will change if Zoho is successful with their mid-market and enterprise efforts? This is a great and interesting question. I think that we are certainly seeing a maturation in Zoho's pre-sales solution engineering teams, the enterprise sales efforts, and we're seeing enough momentum with these larger apps and the maturing of the apps that it is really appealing to the mid-market space. In our experience, it's very difficult to handle smaller, more agile implementations while also doing larger implementations. Now, over the years, we started off doing very small scopes of work. Typically, an engagement was less than $5,000, and we were doing much smaller, more agile implementations. We as an organization found that we were best set up to handle those larger implementations through our project plans and the way that we had our team set up to focus on those mid-market implementations. So my opinion here is that there's going to be a little bit of a divergence in the partner landscape. We're going to have those partners that are really set up to handle those larger projects. The mid-market and enterprise efforts tend to be multi-month and tens of thousands of dollars to implement properly. They typically require more joint support efforts, and we have some mid-market clients that both leverage Zoho's premium support and Catalyst support. So I think that there will be a little bit of a shift, and I don't know if it's really going to change the ecosystem much, but rather give more opportunity for partners that want to specialize in certain industries or those larger accounts. There'll be more opportunity for those folks. And again, by specializing and having some of those organizations focus on the mid-market space, there'll be more opportunity for other partners that prefer the more agile implementations. Let me take a look here at the next question. Got a question about Manage Engine. Unfortunately, this is a little bit out of my depth. I do not have a lot of experience with more of the IT services. With Manage Engine's products being displayed in the Zoho domain. I think that this, unfortunately, I cannot speak to that, but that's certainly something that I will take back to the Zoho team to understand their strategy and how they're looking at incorporating Manage Engine services as part of the Zoho solution offering, or at least adjacent to it, because we'll certainly get clients that will express interest in it. We have, in fact, had clients that were both Zoho and Manage Engine users, and we had explained that we were not proficient at the Manage Engine side, and we contacted Zoho to bring in the relevant expertise and partners that had that proficiency. We have a question here about how partners can best communicate to other partners what their firm's areas of expertise are. My recommendation here, and this is where I'd really appreciate your feedback on that survey, is to facilitate a more robust partner directory that could have the opportunity for us partners to share, perhaps in a private forum, a semi-public. Maybe this is just made available to Zoho sales reps, solution engineers, and the partner community. Certain turnkey use cases, maybe there's a code repository and best practice templates that we can all work from. There could be an opportunity for us to share what our availability is and what our niche service offerings are, and how we can leverage similar frameworks for referral opportunities, whether we have just referrals going back and forth without commission, one-time commissions, ongoing commissions. I think that there's an opportunity for us to create some efficiencies here by all getting on the same page and frameworks of how we approach it. So I think that wraps up our questions for today's session. Really a pleasure to connect with everyone once again. Would love the opportunity to strategize and see where some synergies may exist. Once again, I have a couple of my colleagues here. Colin Tilton is our Director of Marketing. Please reach out to him, get to know him and our services and partnership opportunities. For those of you that have more technical opportunities where you'd like to discuss more integrated vertical solutions with some of the technologies that we have built, please reach out to us and we'll connect you with Emmanuel Soimaru, our VP of Technology. We have some fantastic products coming down the pipeline here, like some really robust migration and daily backup tools for Zoho. And there could be some interesting synergies to incorporate some of our technologies into what you are doing. So with that, thanks everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll see you on the next webinar. Cheers.